Hello and welcome to another tool description. In this moment, we're going through Adobe Firefly. So if you know Midjourney and you already did that training, you know how to use Adobe Firefly. This doesn't have anything that special in terms of generation, but it has one key feature that we find incredibly valuable into the process of doing assets, editing or restyling assets. And that is structure reference. So in short, structure reference allows us to take one particular image and then have the same structure, but put like a coat of paint over it thanks to generative AI. So let's test it live. Let's take this image of a gift and let's use structure reference to keep it the same, but change the overall style without having to go into Photoshop and do any editing. Let's upload this little gift box. Okay, now we have the little gift box. And we have several options. So we could just use an image of reference to apply some style. But in this particular case, I'm gonna drop that down and I'm gonna go and just use structure reference and put that prompt. Let's say golden silver texture 3D icon. Let's generate. In generation, have to wait. And now we can see in the results that we have several options. Some of them, of course, wouldn't be that nice, but some of them will be really good. So using this base asset that is just a PNG image, we were able to get something in a completely different style. Now let's think about how that could speed up our motion production process if we have a particular asset and we just need to homogenize it with the rest of the style of the film, and we don't have time to go and post-produce this asset in Photoshop. We can just bring it here, use structure reference, and get something very similar really quick. Now, let's say that we need this asset, but we need it without the background. So we will probably bring this asset into Photoshop and then crop it out. Or we will get it into After Effects and then key it. But there is also some AI tools from Adobe Express that will help us do this super quick. Let's download this image, and inside Adobe Express, let's go to the background remover. We already have here the 3D icon in silver texture that we generated, and we can just drop that into our subscription, and it will automatically and quickly remove the background of our picture without us having to go opening Photoshop. Just throw in the image that we just generated here. Now, why doesn't Adobe integrate this into Photoshop? Beats me, beats everybody. This is not as efficient as it would be in Photoshop, and we don't know why. But this is the thing that we have. Now, there are several other features of Adobe Firefly that are quite cool and powered by generative AI that we recommend you to explore. But one of them, besides image generation and structure reference, is to use this generative fill. So we are able to take one picture and then just select a piece and regenerate on top of it. Again, this probably works better here than inside Photoshop. We don't know why, but it is what it is. So let's say that we're gonna point here and then here, and let's say Christmas hats. Generate, and then boom. I mean, this is pretty convincing. This is really nice. And you know what? This works better than generative fill inside Photoshop. Why? We don't know. They are pushing really hard for this Adobe Express suite to be used. So most of these cool generative AI features are being somehow sidelined to be used only inside this. There's a lot of possibilities here that if we explore beyond our desktop and go into the Adobe Express web-based tools. How about we go with baseball hats? Baseball hats. I mean, it doesn't always work. I forced it too much. I selected too much space for it to be a baseball hat. What is that? That is not what is that? Baseball on space? That's a comb. And now the last feature of Adobe Express Firefly environment that we would like to highlight, even though it's a little bit dumb, it's the possibility of using generative AI to stylize typography and text and to create really sick text layers. So let's go here to text effects, or let's create a new file. Let's say a horizontal title screen, because we're gonna end up using this into a movie. So let's go with text and let's just add some text. Let's use the dynamic time of the text and let's write generative AI is very scary. Let's change the font to something really cool and make it heavy. And now that we have this here, we can go into the effects of the text and actually use generative AI to give it a coat of paint and style that it's really cool. We could change the styles here and we could actually just leave it like it is, real, and let's go and say this is gonna be made blue marble stones. So now just like that, we actually managed to style some text, and we are pretty sure that in many situations this will be really nice to have in some motion production processes and can be a major workaround and time saver to have really cool typography for any kind of production. Let's go with this gold drip thing. Let's make it drip like gold. Oh yeah, look at that gold drip. Look at that gold drip. And you can just select presets or prompt whatever you want. So again, at this point, most of these generative AI tools are like really small workarounds that helps us speed up obtaining really good assets or editing assets in a very quick manner. Like the way that enhances our motion production is that we don't have to stop animating to stylize the asset. We can just test how something will look real quick and even go into production real quick by just incorporating something of the things that we generated. So the Adobe Express suite, it's actually being used the most by people who is producing like marketing materials from the web and like trying to animate for web, and actually has a lot of cool features that are AI powered that allows us to quickly create animations and stuff. And we invite you to explore those by yourself, but it actually automates a lot of what we do outside of in After Effects and so on. So we can have presets to select like social media sizes, and we can actually use generative AI to compose things real quick. We can insert images both from what they have in their database, or like we can just use this to compose like from things that we already have stored. And it allows us to edit video in that sense. So we could just insert a video that we generated. Let's change the font to something cool. It has a lot of like suggestions, and that is very interesting because the AI is using this contextual recognition to actually suggest you things that the AI will know will work in the context of things. Like if you want to change the color of your text, it probably has suggestions about the color that you should go for. We invite you to explore this, of course, knowing that you don't have the full range of tools that you will have in something like After Effects, Premiere, or Photoshop, but to test like how much can you automate of like your regular motion work that has to do with advertising and small talk by actually taking advantage of this interface that has a lot of things automated. Look, it even can take the background out of a video. We could even use generative AI to insert a background. How about we just generate a vertical image and we go like space background. Now let's put that behind. How about let's change that font for something like a little bit more beefy. Adjustments, fine tuning because I am obsessive. And inside here, real quick, we can have something that kind of works and works really well. Saving time with what we otherwise would have to do interacting with several tools. It's limited, yes, but it solves problem, it does. Actually, like by exploring the more Adobe Express features, it actually has a very decent like animation feature inside that resembles somehow like PowerPoint early animation. But it allows us to compose very interesting things. And let's go over some of the templates that it has. These are some of the templates that they offer as premium resources. There's a lot of things that I already made, even if we don't make them from scratch. So let's open any of this. And it has, you know, these features where all of these are editable elements. It's actually text that it's being animated with some presets, like about how it enters, how it goes out, and so on. And like the really cool thing about this is not that much that it's like a stripped down video editor that or a juiced up PowerPoint that allows us to make some animations, is that since it runs on the browser, it's actually mobile friendly. So you could be doing some of this animation work, not necessarily on your computer, so or on your iPad if you have one. You could be using a beefy phone if you have the app, but it's a pretty cool feature to have. Though the wrap up is the invitation to explore all of the Adobe Express suite that we started by using Adobe Firefly structure reference, and then also explore all the features that we have to create small motion pieces and animation by using other AI generated assets, and see how much can we solve with that to speed up our workflow production processes or just to save time in what we do. You know, you can download that little video in 1080p, and man, this is wild. This looks sharp. Probably will have taken so much more time using like Photoshop and then getting those assets into After Effects or Premiere. And it was just a few clicks. And now I have a video. Now I have a video. Interesting.